Hello everybody and welcome to block 2. Block 2 is called In the Corner, and for that you're going to need 3 different fabrics. So out of one fabric we're going to need let's start over. Out of one fabric we're going to need 4 squares that are 6.5 inches. I chose this. I like the bigger squares to have the bigger print on it. It shows it better, and since these are big blocks, I thought it was perfect. One fabric, you're going to need 1 strip that is 3.5 by 18, and then the last one you're going to need 1 strip that's 3.5 by 18 and 5 that are 3.5 by 6.5. So to start, we're going to sew these 2 together. I didn't iron them very well. Let me do that. I don't always worry about it because, well, just because. No real reason, just what I do. We're just going to iron it nice and flat. So now we're going to lay these right sides together and just sew down the length of it. But this is a pretty long piece, so I will be pinning. It's really preference. If you don't want to pin, don't pin. But I do. I'm going to put about 3 in it down through there. Actually 4. I like to pin the end because if you're not paying attention, I don't know what that was. If you're not paying attention, the end kind of moves on you. So I'm going to sew that up and I'll be right back. Okay, now we're just going to set the seam a little bit on that. Iron it open. All right, now we're going to cut this into 5 6.5 inch strips. No, well, yes, because that's what this is, but we're going to do 5 3.5 inch strips. So we're going to lay these out of the way. And we're going to go here. And we're going to line this up at 3.5. Let me move those and move this up onto the screen a little bit better. So we're going to line this side up at 3.5, and it's pretty straight already. And then I'm also going to line up I tried it down here and the seam I just sewed. So we're going to cut 6 of these. 1, and we're just going to line it up just like that every time. The straight edge all the way down at 3.5, and then the seam is going to go straight across. This block's pretty simple also. It's a lot of I wanted nice size pieces. I wanted the blocks to be the size they are, but I also wanted nice size pieces to show off the patterns on the fabrics. All right, last one. And this is a big enough piece actually that I'm going to put that in for my scrap quilt. So now we are going to line up. Our blocks are going to lay like this. You're not going to be able to see them all, but we're going to put actually, I'm sorry. We're going to do it this way. This is our odd piece. So now we're just going to lay these out, and we're going to put one of these on this side of each of them. So I'm just going to fold it over. However, again, I like to sew, as much as I can, I like to sew with that going down so it doesn't have a chance to fold up on me. So we're going to pin this. If I can get my fingers to work, we're going to pin this. I like to pin it at the seam and at the end. Well, there's no real seam, but you know what I mean, the part I just did. So we're going to lay this down and this one over on it. Pin it here. This is actually going to be like a 9 patch, so this is 5 of our blocks. And then the other ones obviously are the solid ones that we have, that I have cut out already. Sorry for all the crackling and noises. There's a lot going on in this house today. Lay that down, fold this over. It's easy because they're all going to go the same way. And last one, we're going to lay that down. Snowflakes are going to be on the bottom of all of them. And then I'm going to sew all these up, we'll iron them open, and we'll put the block together. So I will be right back. All right, I chain pieced them all together. Bring those back. Snip them apart. Cut off my leader. Now I'm going to iron them all open to the flat side, even though it is white. This is pretty simple. Fabric does change colors. It'll go back to normal if you're not used to that. So now we're just going to lay it out. And again, these are our corner pieces, and the snowflake on mine is going to go to the bottom right every time. Corner and middle is done. But actually the other pieces are done too because they're solid blocks. So we're just going to lay them, make sure they're upright if it's directional. I realize it's piled up again. My camera doesn't go too high. So we're just going to take this and I'm going to fold it over and pin it there. And we're going to sew down through the one side, and then I'll come back and I'll sew the other ones on. So we're going to sew down through these two and the one I already pinned, and then we'll be back to show you, then I'll be back to show you the next step. Okay, sewn them all together. So what I'm going to do here is anytime I'm ironing it open, I'm ironing it toward my solid block. And then my seams will line up perfectly. There's the top and the middle. And then again, we're going to iron it towards the solid one. So then it is going to lay out perfectly. I know, I need a taller camera thing. Sorry about that. Let's move this. So now we're going to fold this over, and I'm going to pin right here at my seams. And right here at this seam. And then at the end. And I'm going to go ahead and fold that back up. And I'm going to flop this one over. And I'm going to pin it. And then I'm just going to sew them both at the same time. And then I will be back to show you what it looks like. After I've sewn it, I'll show you what it looks like. And then we'll go to the quilting part of it. And we'll do that together. So I will be right back. Okay, so I have cut it. I've cut the backing and the batting, and I just lined it up in the middle. Well, the batting is of course the same size, so it's 18.5 inches. The backing is 20 inches. I explained in the last video, it's okay if you do 20.5. A lot of people do that. I just don't like all the bulk on the side. Not really bulk, I guess, but I like a thin border because it's also going to be doubled. It's going to be both of them. So I do just 1.5 inches bigger. So I've pinned it in the middle as best I could. I don't really stress over it. I'm not a measure Make sure it's exactly the same. It looks about the same though, so that's good enough for me. And again, I'm just doing a crossed and then a plus sign in the middle, and I will use the tape, and I do this one at a time. So this one will still be pretty easy because I have this to go by. So I'm just going to line it up straight down through there. And I do have a pin in there, so I'll make sure to take that out when I get to it. So I'm going to stitch down on this side, and then I'll take the tape off, and I'll do the diagonal, and then I'll do this one, and then I'll do this one. I do kind of go around in a circle. I don't know if that's right, but it's worked good for me so far. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll be right back to show you what it looks like. All right, so there it is. Now we're just going to trim off our threads on the sides. I do only stitch from the quilt block. You don't go all the way to the edge of the backing. I mean, you could, but then it's going to show up, like when you fold this over, it's going to show stitching through there, which I don't want. So we're just going to trim off all of our threads on the front. And I'm liking it so far. It's going to be a pretty nice size. I'm going to, well, I was going to start a Facebook group so I could see all of yours. Anybody who participates in quilts with me. I'll call it 12 Blocks of Christmas Quilt Along. I haven't started it yet, but I will. I'll let y'all know in the next video if I've done it by then. So there it is. Now the back is going to look the same on both of them. I didn't iron it very well, but again, I like it when it's crinkly. So I'll show you the back of the first one. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry about that. The back of the first one looks exactly the same. Now these are going to be in 2 different rows. Again, we're going to have 4 with the green back, 4 with the red, and 4 with the white. And then they're going to alternate on the back. So there is block 2. It is called In the Corner. I hope you make it. I hope you love it. And I'll see you in the next video.